And we're live here again at iShook Comics with our good friend, Mr. Von Klaus. Am I saying you're right?
You are, you are.
Wow, I love it. I love it when I get it right. That's why I don't ask. I like to, hit it, try to make it happen. So we're here at iShook Comics trying to learn from the key players in the industry. And now we have our good friend, well, for me, a brand new good friend, Mr. Von Klaus, here with his research. Oh my God. I don't have glasses on. Tell me what I see, what I'm
Rise
reading.
Again Comics.
Oh, yes. Rise Again Comics. The QR code is right here, my friends. And in addition, do not forget, let me get the other QR codes for our good friend here. Here is one of his comics. Let's see. Let's pop it up. Here we go. Monster MD. Everybody can go to his shop and find all the other comics and galore that he has over there, from merch to comics. Do not forget, support us comic creators, because it's very, very, very cool at what we do. And we need the support to continue to basically buy our coffees and let Ben eat his hamburger or whatever he's eating right now, his sandwich.
It has tomato cheese on it.
It's all a joke, guys. It's all a joke. But yes, but Ben is eating while we're talking, not a problem, because he just comes right straight to work just to make these things and these podcasts to happen.
People are moving all over in Tennessee. They're just coming on down. The roads are not prepared for this volume of people. It's crazy. I scream at traffic. I was listening to Jesus metal on my way here.
All right, let's put Jesus aside for a second. Here we have another sweatshirt, which is a unisex zip hoodie for Super Black Leviathan, a character in Super Black Comics, created by me and then written by Ben. In addition, starring Daniel Baldwin, Alec Baldwin's brother in the Baldwin family. I think he is my favorite, since he is part of iShook and he's part of the board. And he's also part of the whole iShook Comics production. So in addition, do not forget, buy our merch in Super Black Comics, iShookComics.com. And again, don't forget, Monster MD by Von Klaus. And we are beginning now. We'll be popping this up during the show, but we will begin now talking and grilling Von Klaus and how he became the Von and the Klaus. I'm just
Oh, it's not easy being a Von, guys. It's not easy. Let me tell you.
Isn't Von like a title name for a person?
It is actually that's how I got my name for writing. Actually, when my family came over on the boat, it was Von Klauser, and Von just means from in German. And when you have a Von, that usually means you're royalty. So we came over as royals, but in America, you're just starting over from scratch. So we had to build it right back up, baby.
What royal leaves royalty to come to America? You stay royal.
Hey, excuse, my family had a castle, Benny.
And
Northumberland ship matter.
That's it.
Really? And you left your castle?
I had nothing to do with that. I was born here.
But they left the castle. Do they still own the castle?
You go back?
It's supposed to be haunted. Seriously, it's like a full-on Scooby-Doo episode. But yeah, that's in northern England. Northumberland is right by the White Sea. It was at the edge of the Roman Empire.
Wow. We learned a lot from Ben today. Okay. All right, listen. Ben always throws these we just don't know where it comes from, man. We just don't know.
Yeah, we were, I guess we were royals. I really don't know much about it. I just know that was our name, and that's kind of what inspired my name, because back when I started doing this, it was 2017. It was the impetus of comic book people in the culture war, if you want to call it that. You don't have to, but if you want to, kind of getting fed up and starting to make our own stuff. And I didn't want to get fired from my job. I had a job working for the zoo. Really? I ran their social media. I made their videos. I documented the animals. I did photography.
May I ask which zoo? Is it?
From my local zoo here in town, Tulsa.
Oh, wow.
And so I didn't want to get fired from my cool little office job, with my little career. And so I did the pen name thing. Now, of course, it's stuck, so I'm just going to stick with it and keep running with it. And it is kind of based off my family name, so it's all good. But basically what happened with me was in the 80s, I was a little kid, little guy, and I fell in love with comics. I saw my first Ninja Turtle. I went berserk. I went home. I started drawing comics, 8 years old. and from there I've just been making them ever since. You
Now, this
know,
is the
throughout my
dark,
life.
violent Ninja Turtles, though, right? The black and white one, the way
That's
they.
right.
Yes.
The ones that murder the Shredder within the first issue, Ninja
Yes.
Turtles, like the violent
That's the Ninja
ninja
Turtles I love.
types, the grimy, the grit, the awesomeness.
Did you know Kevin Nash played Super Shredder in The Secret of the Ooze, by the way?
Yeah, I think I just found that out recently, though. I didn't know that
You're
for a
talking
while.
about the movie? The movie?
Yeah. Kevin
The
Nash
old
was when
movie,
he was
right?
huge. Yeah.
The old
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. Wow.
Super Shredder. But I've loved him ever since. I've loved comics ever since, and I've been making them ever since. So here we
What
are.
do you feel? I want to ask this, for a long time to a person like you who's developed so many comics. What is the difference between a comic and a book? So like a novel and a comic.
Yeah.
What will be the difference? Is it because I'm reading less words now, I'm getting a story and you're like drawing it for me? Like what makes a comic uniquely different than a novel or a piece of a book? I mean,
You're
I think that
visually engaging with it in a way that in a novel or book, it's all in your head.
no, that's not what I'm referring to. But
Oh,
that's a great point, obviously, right? I'm talking about as the author and conveying a message.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I even wrote a short story recently in prose style, and it felt really weird to me. You know, I wasn't used to it, and I realized the differences are how you emotionally move people. Really, in the end, you're doing it through comics. You're combining words with visuals. With prose, you're using words to create visuals in the mind. So it's a different kind of. I hate to use the word manipulation. It's a different kind of emotional prodding that gets people to what you want them to feel and where you want it to go. And so and to me, people who love comics, they love art. So there's another part of that experience that the novel doesn't give you. You get this, like, I'm going to sit back, even though I've just read the dialogue, and just appreciate the detail, the characters, the clothing, the grit of it, whatever. So for me, it's always going to be about combining those power visuals with those great lines that you just can't do. You don't get to do that in a novel at all, man. It's totally different.
Thinking of your answer, I'm thinking based off your answer, right? Because you gave this answer, I'm thinking that now when it comes to a novel, essentially the imagination of the reader is prime. But when you come to a comic, it's the imagination of the author and the writer or the illustrator that's prime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you agree with what I'm saying? What do you think?
Sorry, my earphones cut out on you.
All right, sure.
When you're talking.
So I'm saying when it comes to a novel, a book, the prime factor of imagination is the reader.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have one book that can have thousands of imaginations or visualization of the author, and then go figure out what they thought. Like, go figure out what Shakespeare even meant, right? If you didn't see his original play, right, or whatever, so on and so forth, or 1984 or whatever it is. But with you and comic creators like you, you're essentially saying, this is what I'm visualizing.
Yeah.
Now interpret the story,
and you're gonna see it.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's really. And plus, with a comic, it's undebatable. Oh, did the author mean this? Did the author mean that? No. Here's what the author meant. Here's the clothing. Here's the artwork. Here's the scenery. There's no dispute now.
But I think it's totally debatable, because you've got these people that want to troll comics online. I'm talking like Gail Shelby, for example. And so she had a comic where Nightcrawler went ahead and he made a remark in one panel. And people took it as he was saying something literally. Nightcrawler's like a monk. I don't know if you know that, X-Men and all that. But
but that's interpretation
no,
of
absolutely. So
right.
There is an interpretation, whether he's being sarcastic or not. And if you were saying she was following the character's continuity, you would say he was talking favorably about the furry community. I don't want to get all into that.
Right, but
I think more sarcastic based on who he is.
But I think that's a little bit different. That's you're analyzing the storyline, right? When in school, when you're reading Great Expectations and all these books, there's a lot of what did the author think about? What was his intention? And really that disappears with a regular book. You won't really know what his intention or her intention was writing. But with a comic, you really have gotten 80% of the author's intent in that specific storyline.
No,
I don't know. Tell me that's my assessment
Benny,
from what I heard from Von.
Benny,
Yeah.
what I think that Von Claus's intention is to make awesome comics, and that he's pulling through and he's doing it. I read Terror in the Trenches, and I absolutely loved it. The art does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's a captivating story. The pacing is great. He's got a number of different comics that are available on his website. Y'all click on that Rise Again Comics. All that.
So Ben made it look like I was grilling Von. I wasn't even grilling Von. I was just asking. I was just trying to educate the community.
I can hear like the Brandenburg concerto in my head when you're doing.
I'm trying to promote that community should start reading comics again. Right? It's very important.
All right. Okay. I wondered where you were going with this. I'm like,
you know what you guys made me think of with this conversation topic is the end of The Killing Joke, which has been interpreted in different ways by different people.
Oh, I'm not familiar at all with that. Tell me
what
at the very end of The Killing Joke, Batman and Joker.
Right. When
Joker tells a joke to Batman.
Right.
And they start laughing.
And then he kills him.
And that's one interpretation, but the last panel of it is just rain tapping on the street.
Oh, that's true, by the way. But they made an HBO Max, what's it called?
Animated movie
movie of it, and I think he kills him at the end.
He kills him in the Temple of Love.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that.
I didn't know in the comic it just left it with raining.
It left it open. It left you open.
So HBO Max took it and actually made it that he killed him. Wow.
So in the
who was the one who did that? Who was the producer or the director that did that?
Well, Grant Morrison has a famous recording of him explaining the ending of Killing Joke, where Grant says, "I think he kills him." And that's why you don't hear any more laughter. It's just a silent panel. The way the panel looks, it looks kind of like Batman's putting his hand around his neck.
Right.
But I think it can be interpreted as hand on the shoulder. But see, this goes back to what we're saying about different interpretations, and so he's like, that's why it's called The Killing Joke. Wow. Because Batman finally kills by the end because he's had enough of the Joker's bullshit.
Right. Well, because he also in the comic he rapes, what's her name? He rapes what's her name? Barbara, yeah.
Yeah, she becomes Oracle when she's crippled up.
Yeah, but that's one story. I never heard that storyline until I watched that comic.
I'm impressed.
I mean, I can't read every comic. How many comics exist? Like, I'm sure there's thousands and thousands and thousands of titles, right? In the past 60 years. I mean, like, it's like no end to it. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy the comics of the individuals who we interviewed for sure because I'm excited with their comics. It's awesome. But so I didn't know that Killing Joke was left off in an opening. Is that traditionally normal to do in a comic? Is that advised to do that, or?
I don't know about advised. I mean, it's one of the things that probably made people like Alan Moore and the way he did things. I mean, Killing Joke's a beloved book to this day, probably forever, in terms of Batman fiction. So it's really cool, man. He always explored those writers that came in and explored those other sides that we weren't used to and broke the mold, and took those risks. They did cool things like that.
Did you like the Batman versus Spawn? Because that kind of had that sort of thing where Batman plants the Batarang right in his head and he pulls it out at the end of it because they hate each other.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
That
was cool. Hell
wow.
Yeah. I grew up then, loving comics, and then the 90s hit and Image hit. And I was an X-Men kid. All the X books, man. X-Force, New Mutants.
Me and my uncle and I are the
Excalibur.
Same.
Yeah.
My uncle's a year older than me. Yeah, it's same. He gave me like a bunch of his X-Men cards. He's like, take it. I have like 2 books of X-Men cards collected when we were young. Like X-Men, I think was number 1 in pop culture then, no?
I think so, yeah. With Jim Lee drawing it. And then we got Image. And that changed everything too. That was crazy. Those were good times, man. Exciting times in comics. Comics were cool and fun and kind of like and all the cool artists banded together to rebel. I love that shit. And it really influenced me. I was drawing all the time, always wanting to write stuff. But I mean, I spent my life doing everything but treating comics as a profession. I treated comics as just this thing I love to do, to express myself, to tell a story. But I tried everything else but comics. I mean, I was a bouncer. I worked for the
Really?
zoo.
Wow.
I managed a tea house. I did all kinds of stuff. And I was like, why didn't I just, I mean, every now and then I did like send something off to Dark Horse, you know, and you would just never hear anything, you know. But for the most part, I didn't try that hard. I always just treated it like why, how could I? And even when I was I was studying pre-med to be a doctor back in the day in college, I was drawing Battle Chasers. I was drawing Crimson, that vampire book. So I don't know. I've always been drawn to it, loved it. I love good art. I love great story. And it is cool because with my work, I design all the characters. So yeah, in a way, it is like you were talking about earlier. It's like a purist version of your vision that no one else can mess with or touch. You know what I
Right.
mean? You control it, you know, and if you have a good artist that you can work well with, you can do that together, and it's awesome. So that is something I do love about making comics. It's my way. It's not me handing a movie script to a studio and they change it, have it rewritten by other people, rewritten a million different ways, and then they have some costume designer come up with all the designs and they suck. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, with me, I get to control all of it. So it's
I
pretty
mean,
great.
that's ultimately what we want. We want control of our comics, right? We want control
So
of our comics.
I want to show you what I see, and I want
Right.
you to see it too and enjoy the hell out of it like I do. So it's something I've been wanting to do forever, and now I get to do it for a living. It's kind of amazing. I kind of have to pinch
So
myself sometimes.
how many types of comics have you done? Meaning title wise, how many titles have you done already?
Well, let's see. There's Monster MD.
Right.
There's Terror in the Trenches, Kataru Witch Hunter. Those are my titles that have released so far. Doing another Terror in the Trenches soon. I have another book I haven't announced yet that's got an artist now, and we're making stuff, and I can't wait to announce that. I guess I won't. I'll hold off. But
Hold on. Listen, we need another podcast. Tell us when you're ready. We'll
I'll be back.
yeah, man, we'll promote that thing. You know, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think maybe you're right. People's passions are taking a back seat for their career. I mean, sometimes I think a passion could be a career. And plus, we live in America. Like a person's passion can become a career. It's
Yeah.
we're not living in a third world country. I mean, and I think we should develop these type of artistic products in a sense. What do you think?
I think the more people make art, the better society gets. You get less people wanting to kill everybody because you're getting to express yourself in ways. There's a reason there's so much art therapy in prisons, because it helps them not want to murder each other.
That's true.
But I think in the end, what I love about it is you learn how to express yourself on your terms, and like that's power. That's important. And if you can entertain other people with it, the world's a better place. Help people escape their misery with it. That's a fine thing. It's worth
Basically giving
doing.
another outlet of escapism. That's really
Yeah.
what it is. And some people do need it. You know, they need to get a break off, reality for a while, read a bunch of comics and, go through them. Ben, any questions? Ben, where you at, Brent? I mean,
I am shamelessly plugging this on all forms of social media.
no, that's good. That's the whole point.
Right now. No, that's what I'm doing.
That's
what we
all
like.
good. That's all good, brother. I mean, ultimately, I think comics, I don't know if the data shows. I mean, what do you see in comic sales and in detail of comics in regards to, the hype behind comics? Is there still hype? Is there resurgence? Because I feel for some reason here in 2024, there's not that much interest in comic books the way there was in the 90s and the early thousands.
They're not. We're living in an era of kids growing up on tablets with incredible graphics and animations and video games that hit all your pleasure centers at once, like some sort of drug. Comics, in a weird way, it's almost like selling an old school like wooden toy that you pull behind yourself with a string to a kid, as opposed
Man, you're
to
just
like,
discouraging me from making comics now, bro.
but I'm not done. I'm not done.
Okay. I'm like
But
okay. There's the but. Okay. Rather,
if you make something that really captivates and captures their imagination, I mean, those still images become alive in their head. They become something larger than life that they love and want. People have asked to see animated versions of my work a lot. They've begged for it. It's because these characters become alive in their heads. So you can do magic with them still. Comics have been around since before there were comics. I mean, if you go into an old church in Italy, they'll have the Stations of the Cross that tell the story of Jesus in different murals, and they're just big panels. They're just giant comic book panels, man. It's amazing. And that form of storytelling is always going to be here. It's just that in general, I feel like superhero comics are kind of like let's say I wrote the best superhero comic in the world for DC or Marvel using one of their characters. It still won't break out. Do you guys remember when Walking Dead was the shit and people who didn't even like comics were in the shops buying that book? That's a breakout book. But if I wrote the best Batman ever, I don't think people are going to line up outside the store for it. I think superhero fans will get it. It could sell well and do well. Great. But compared to like manga or compared to like indie titles that break out and have that original thing that people want and talk about and gets them hyped to get into a shop and buy it. I mean, I feel like it's a different thing. So superhero comics, all of it, I see it as kind of an uphill thing, but I don't care because I love comics and I believe in those breakthrough stories and characters, and I've seen it happen. I was there buying those Walking Deads alongside people who've never been in shops before back in the day when it was at its peak.
Yeah, you make a lot of sense. I think like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and then One Punch, and all these kind of manga, right? Like all these, yeah. But it's not just anime.
Anime is you have manga and they make it into animated, so you've got anime.
Right.
So it's what he's saying. People want his comics made into a different medium.
No doubt. But what I'm trying to say is that people are jumping into those stories because they're alternate stories than the traditional Batman, Superman structured story. Because Batman and Superman and all these DC comics are literally structured. They're not coming out of their bubble, right? But these manga comics and these manga stories do come out of that bubble. So that's what creates an interest. So I think you're 100% right. Like if you're going to go through the same superhero story that's in the same box as all the other superhero stories.
Didn't you say that Inuyasha was a little bit influential on your Witch Hunter series? Is it at all?
A little bit. Yeah. I like violent anime. I've always liked violence since I was a kid. Like I like Wolverine, I like Punisher.
Right.
I like violent comics. And I grew up in the era of the early 90s of like you could barely find anime, but if you did, it was violent as hell.
Oh, it's crazy violent. Yeah.
Akira.
Akira, Ninja Scroll. Anything by Kawajiri is my favorite. I love him.
Did you like Battle Angel Alita?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I love all that old school stuff, and it's a big influence on my work. But I remember Inuyasha kind of reminded me, like some of the things. I think Inuyasha and Naruto were influences in terms of character designs. You can take simple, solid character designs and make really good characters. But then again, Bruce Timm, Batman Animated, was a big influence on me too. I studied that school of like just even one little line will change your whole character, and simplicity is king for me, man. It really comes out in my designs and my work, and I just think people remember it more. It's more hard hitting that way. So yeah, I mean, I love the violent stuff. It kept me. It's in my work. My work's violent. But what else was I saying? I'm sorry, I'm losing my kid.
No, you're good. I mean, you're 100% right. Like Blue Samurai was very successful just because of that.
Can I ask you a question that's a little bit of a spoiler, and you can totally dodge it if you don't want to answer it. There's a certain woman in the Terror in the Trenches who is a Nazi that's still around, and I don't know if you know who the Black Terror is, Benny, but he fought Nazis and everything. He uses like a fear gas and he inhales it, and it's like he's on drugs. He's got like increased strength and all that. So anyway, she's got explosives strapped to her. Does she die, or is she immune to blowing herself up?
Oh, that's something you're gonna have to see, my friend.
Okay, all right. I got to read the second one. I wondered if you would just come out.
Remember, Ben's nickname is Spoiler Alert, just for you to know.
Good hat. I appreciate it. Yeah, man, you'll see. Oh yeah, you'll see.
Right.
But it's
I will, because I'm gonna read it.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, man. It's that was a cool thing to do, Terror in the Trenches. I wanted to do a story about a superhero whose entire neighborhood gets turned into just blown to shit, and his streets are broken into these trenches, and it's like he's reliving the horrors of being in trenches in World War II as he goes through his own personal world, his own neighborhood. And then the idea of making Black Terror the one who did that just worked for me, just connected so well that I was like, this is perfect, because I wanted to make Black Terror cool. I felt like this is a character who looks cool, but why isn't he cool? Why aren't there better stories around him that people like or talk about or recommend, you know? And there's a few interesting Black Terror stories over the years. I have some stuff, but overall I was like, no, I could do something better than what anyone else can do with this guy. So and some of the fans have told me I did a good job. So
you did
happy about
fantastic,
that.
man. Is he going to take up a sword at any point in this, or is he just slinging guns, or what? You're not going to tell me.
My terror is all trench knives and brute force.
Okay.
I took away the pirate swords. I love those long trench knives that you pay. I have a thing. I go to like flea markets and stuff, and I'm always at the table with all the like World War II weaponry and shit. And the trench knife is such an intimidating weapon when you hold one in your hand. It's longer than you expect. It's almost a sword itself. And he's got tons of them. So he throws them with super strength. They're made out of a special material too. So they're very hard and very sharp compared to like a regular knife. So he can mess people up with them. Mess up super people with them.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I like it a lot, and I'm super anticipating. I like that you took characters too. That you had Lady Satana, and you even talked about when she came out, when she was created, and everything like that. So I mean, I appreciate that you're like, you know, valuing the characters and coming out with them and introducing them to people in a good way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, Lady Satan is one of the cooler characters of the World War II era who just murdered Nazis. And when they caught her back in the day, she was like, screw you Nazis, and kills herself like right in front of them. But then they reincarnated her as kind of more of a mystic, magical character. Yeah. And gave her like almost endless powers. I just took the idea of like a gunslinger and mystical witchy powers and combined it and made her a gun witch. So she's this like wild acrobatic gun witch with guns floating around her shooting you. Using magic and artillery to she's the mystic gun ballistic is what I call her. Okay. So it's fun. Probably inspired by Bayonetta, that video game with the crazy witch and the guns and the gun heels and stuff. Fun stuff. Cool. I mean, it's I have an appreciation for the old and bringing it into the new and making it cool again, making people appreciate it a little bit.
Do you think Nosferatu is going to do that?
The new movie coming out?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think it could. It's been remade before, like in the 70s, and now it's coming back again. Rob Eggers is a pretty good director, I guess. I don't know. Part of me is like, I don't know. He seems pretentious. So I'll give it, but I'm still going to go see it. I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah,
for sure. It could be really big.
Question in regards to production. How long does it take for you to complete one issue of a comic?
I don't know. It always depends on my artist. And I have all these different artists I work with. When I start writing a comic, I am fast. I will churn out 20 pages in a day of work with ease, man. So I'll finish an issue. I'll finish the script real quick. It just will depend on the artist in the end. Some of my artists can be pretty damn fast and will turn in 5 pages within a week. Or more, and other artists, they'll take their time. It'll take a little longer, and so it just depends. I've never created via 20-page issues either. I've always created these longer 70-page monstrosities. Monster MD is like 140 something pages. Wow. It was insane. I can't believe I did that.
But you have it churning in your head a little bit too, right? Like when you sit down to write it, it's been going there because I've written like some books, like prose books, that I don't know if it's going to be a novel or a novella, but I've just got this story in me that I have to let out, and you're like bleeding it out onto paper essentially.
Well, no, I'm very planned. My whole thing is doing tons of pre-production where I do the full step outline of the story. I have my character bios. I'll even do character designs. I'm very visual. My dad does a very visual job too. We're just very visual people, and I'll do a logo. I do tons of visual work. So part of me is the joy of it all coming together and getting yourself geared up. And then that's probably why I'm fast, because once I start writing the script, I mean, it's all there, man. The story's there. I know the characters. I know the voices. I know the conflicts. I know the different themes and the visuals I want to use. I have a folder filled with all my inspirational images and stuff. Like it's a combination of, plotting out in your mind, like what's the shape of this story? How's it going to move? And visuals coming together. And it makes writing fun. I mean, that's my whole belief. Don't do it unless it's fun, guys. and I set myself up for fun. So that's how I do it. I'm very meticulous about structure, 3-act structure. Stuff like
do you
that.
have a fan favorite? Like, I mean, not your favorite, but is one of them like stepping out ahead of the other, kind of like Superman and Batman do with DC? Or are they holding even, or what?
Oh, what do you mean? Like,
do you have one that like is selling out in front of the others that people go more wild over than the other comics?
Yeah. Well, it's weird. Monster MD was a huge hit, and I still get a lot of love for Monster MD and people asking for part 2 to this day. But Terror has its own set of fans that are like, can't wait for 2.
I'm one of them.
You're one of, and I was surprised how many people who took a chance and bought Kataru Witch Hunter were like, "Holy shit, this is like, I like this better than your other books."
Wow.
So I've gotten a lot of mixed, I've gotten fans of each different one for just different reasons, and but I think Monster MD is probably a standout. I feel like if I were to launch a Monster MD 2 tomorrow, people would be excited and it would do really well and be a standout one for me. Yeah, for sure.
And Benny, I don't know if you know this, because I read and review like a lot of comics, so I see a lot of stuff that's independent and that's mainstream. And he can not only hold his own against a lot of mainstream stuff, but he beats the snot out of some of them. I mean, we're talking super good looking stuff. It's well written. It flows good and everything. And a lot of what you have when you talk indie comics, and there's some really good ones, but you don't know what you're going to get sometimes. People win you over. Like Proper Comics. I don't know if you've ever read them. They're like Mad Magazine. They're like black and white, and so that's what made me like the Merry Boys and all that. I just it's like English humor, and they're beating people with what do you call that bat?
Cricket bat.
Yeah, they're beating people with cricket bats, trying to put the fear of the Lord in them the old-fashioned way, and they said it was weird and kind of Ninja Turtles-y or whatever, but it's just so snarky and sarcastic that it's fun, and you actually laugh over it.
Yeah, there's some amazing indie comics out there. I love that about that. They won't get the same money or attention that the mainstream does, and yet they're putting out something that gets people excited, makes them happy, makes them feel like it's not just recycled cafeteria food. It's good stuff. Proper Comics is good stuff.
So what is your aspiration? Are you planning to go full force, as many issues as possible for the rest of the time allotted?
Yeah, I just want to make a big, thick library of some of the coolest books you've ever read in your life, and then die. And then someday somebody will use AI to make more books like mine, because that's what people are already doing now. This guy sent me a song, and he's like, I wrote the lyrics, but then I said I wanted the band 30 Seconds to Mars to sing it and play the music version. And he just told an AI to do it, and they did it. And I'm just like, so now in a weird way, you creatively live forever, because your band could disband. You can all the members can be dead, but someone will use AI to have your band do another song. It's crazy. And but I don't know that people will do that with my work at all. I was just kind of kidding, but still, it's really
very
fun
possible. The possibility exists.
It's the possibility is about. I mean, I like the idea of my work staying around long after I'm gone for people to enjoy. I love that. And I want to use my work to explore the things that interest me.
doubt.
The human experience is traumatic and violent and crazy and funny and dark, and I try to make all my books a reflection of that honesty I see in the world, that brutal honesty that I see. And so you're going to get a lot of that with my work, man. It's going to be violent. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be funny. They're really funny, but it's going to be honest. So I hope people
Well,
can
listen,
appreciate that.
I appreciate it very much. I mean, your website is killer. I mean, it's an unbelievable website. I mean,
Oh, thanks, man.
the
Yeah.
structure is there, clean and nice. You can see everything that you're doing. No doubt. Listen, it's for sure marketing wise and presentation wise. No, I didn't read the books yet, and Ben read the books, right? He's for sure a fan. I mean, I like the fact that you got even just one issue, like 140 pages. I think that's ultimately what we will be doing in the future, just getting 140 pages out. It'll be much easier to do it that way. I mean, honestly, in that aspect of things. No, but it's awesome what you're doing. I mean, in general, do you think what do you think? Do you think the small, do you think 40 pages is enough for a good comic, or
Yeah,
do you need
it depends on the story. When it comes to crowdfunding, I appreciate those thicker books for your money, and I like to give people a little more. I
right?
like a 70-something page at least, If the story can work at 40 pages and still get people happy, great. It's whatever it requires. Do it, you know. Sometimes you might want to break it down into like more of a floppy mode for some people. They might appreciate that even if you write it well enough. I mean, a good 20-page story is not easy to do, and to hook people with that's power. It's awesome. So
Wow.
whatever works, man. But yeah, crowdfunding, I like a little more meat on my bone, a little more page count. But Terror in the Trenches is 70-something pages. I think Kataru was a little short. It's like 56 pages, but it's a one and done full story, murder
Right.
mystery action story. And so, yeah, and we're doing Psycho Killers, and I'm doing that with the awesome Gifted Rebels. It's Psycho
Wow.
Killers coming soon, and that's going to be 120-something pages, maybe something like that.
So tell me what you did with this cover on Terror in the Trenches, for example, because your stuff is like so high quality. Benny, he's got patches that come along with it. He's got like a trading card, just all kinds of things. It's like part of it's kind of like leathery feeling, and then the other's like smooth and all that on the cover, and you've got like some reflective metallic and everything.
Yeah.
I can grab it off of the shelf back there behind me. But
oh yeah,
go
I
ahead.
got one here. Terror in the Trenches.
Yes. So that black part feels kind of leathery, and it's more sleek on the guy, and then he's got like the metallic lettering and everything. And I mean, and that's nice stuff. I was like, man, this is like quality, like the paper and everything in there. It's really, really sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this
there's
is
for sure
still
UV
fascinating.
filming on it, and you have a foil stamp for sure.
Yep. And a little spot gloss on our
Right.
Terror here.
Right.
Yeah. I always love the idea of that classic black book with that nice smooth feel, and then your evil red foil.
Right.
This came out great. Fantastic.
I mean, for sure, for collector editions, we want to do the same, but
Right.
I want to do as cheap as possible for people just to buy incrementally,
Right. Don't have. I mean, these were definitely stretch goals. You
Right.
know, I didn't know if I would get to that, but if we made enough money, I'll spend the extra. It doesn't end up being that pricey if you're printing a lot of books. Luckily.
That's true. When the more you print, the cheaper it becomes.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
good times, fun times. I just wanted to do a dark high tea book and prove I could take kind of an old school dusty character nobody cares about and make you care about him again too. So Terror was fun as hell.
Wow.
It would have been easier to just do Monster MD2 and ride the hit, but that's just not the way I am creatively. I guess I like that uphill trudge sometimes, or to prove to myself I can do other things.
No doubt. You have to prove yourself. You have to take yourself to the limits to see how far you can go and how long it takes to get that far in order to do the next one better.
I really like a lot of the older characters, like the feel and the vibe anyway, like the whole like antiquated thing. So I mean, it was like last year I think that I had went into a comic shop. Do you know Wesley Dodds is the Sandman? Like not the Sandman that Neil Gaiman has with the messy hair, but the guy that wears the gas mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I was totally unfamiliar with him, and he's like Golden Age comics, just had never been around it. And they ran their 6-issue run. It's outstanding. You know, the coloring's good. I think the person worked on like a Robin thing or whatever, but it goes all into his character. Never knew anything about him. And I'm like, that's good writing when they make you care about a character that you didn't even know anything about. I mean, I was just like, gee, recently I said that about Mike Barron with Nexus. They were older books that I had read of that, but you know, I hadn't ever read them, and they just came off. The delivery was so good. You know, I read, hey, it's like a futuristic thing and all that, and I'm like, you know, I don't know. I'd read some of his other stuff that was like an easier sell because like westerns, I like violent westerns and all
Nice.
that. You know, I could watch like No Country for Old Men, even though it's like a modern western, but I could watch
love
it like
that movie.
every day. Yes, that was
Yeah.
fantastic. But you know, Nexus is just so good, the way that it delivers and everything in it. I don't want to go on with a big spiel about it, but good writing can win you over. And it's like, you know what? I mean, they've got me. I like this character, and that's when it's good. Because if you don't care about the character, I mean, you're just gonna walk away. It's
You're
like,
out.
I don't care what
Yes.
happens to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The art of making you care, making you give a damn about these crazy characters and want to see what happens next. It's hard. It is not easy, but when people do it well, it's magic. It's amazing.
Don't you love on Walking Dead how they would like subvert expectations? You've got this couple, you wanted them to fall in love, and they're like about to kiss, and then the guy gets shot in the head.
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah, they don't even build up to some of it. It's just like bam, you know, just so you know that you don't know what's going to happen.
Pulling the rug out from under you was like their craft, was their art in that book for sure.
All right, guys, I think we're going to call for tonight. Listen, everybody get to Rise Again Comics. Don't forget to buy Monster MD or even Terror in the Trenches. And then you have what's the other title I see here? Kataru Witch Hunter.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And I don't know how to put maybe Necroveni. I don't know.
Oh, Necrovonicon. So
Right.
that's my art book of my work over the years, my design work.
Necrovonicon. There we go. Necrovonicon. These are beautiful and you know, unbelievable works of art from our good friend Mr. Von Klaus. And do not also forget, guys, we to subscribe and get into his website. Again, riseagaincomics.com. Look it up. It's awesome. Very clean, very nice. A lot to see here, a lot to visualize. And you know, I'm already becoming a fan of what he's doing here. Honestly. And don't forget, by the way, Super Black, the hoodie from Leviathan, starring Daniel Baldwin. Don't forget our own we have a posters for iShook Super Black Blood Ties is a cover for our book 4. We already have all 13 books set for production, and we also have book 3, Covenant of the Gods. You're able to get any of these products in our iShookcomics.com store. And I want everybody to fully comprehend we are here to build back the comic industry. It's not just, iShook Comics. We want young people's to start learning how to visualize, create. It's not just about AI. We also got to develop human eye, which is basically human intelligence. Let's develop our human intelligence back up again. So when we read a comic, it literally comes to life as we look at it without having AI or technology just helping us. You know, we should be able to learn how to do it ourselves as well, you know. So I wish everybody a lot of success. Ben, thank you again for closing this. Von, please come back again. We want to hear when the next book is coming, or even if not, if we can schedule another one in a couple of months from now, where whatever, couple weeks from now, let's do another conversation. I got a bunch of questions to ask. I don't want to bore everybody with all my questions.
No, you're great, man. Thank you so much. You both are awesome to talk to. I really appreciate your time, and let's do it again. I'll be
definitely back. Great. Awesome, guys. So be well. And don't forget iShookcomics.com. And again, riseagaincomics.com. Thank you, everybody. Be well. Thank you.